Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Stage Door Show tonight. I'm Dave Hondel. My guest is a wonderful radio and podcast host, blogger, and host of large live events in the beautiful country of Italy. We're happy to discuss this all with this talented artist, so please welcome Andrea Della Rocca to the show. Thank you for joining me, Andrea.
Thank you. Hi to all the audience.
Thank you, and we're so happy to have you on the show. And we've done a few international interviews, but it's the first, I believe, from Italy. So this is great. So it's wonderful. And first of all, thank you. I know it's late there, so thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. I wanted to start with this, Andrea. I know that I do podcasting as well, and everybody kind of has a different reason for getting into it. So, when did you become, interested in becoming a blogger and a podcast and radio host? Like, what inspired you to get into this type of field?
Everything started in high school with a course called Il Quotidiano in class. It was a course about journalism and investigative reporting. Then I went in a different direction over the year with radio, interview, and projects that were more visual than written. But what inspired me was a core journalistic principle, the search of and the telling of the truth. Since I was a child, I've always hated lies, and people tell a lot of them. Politicians tell many lies, heads of state to adults in general, people. And I wanted to be a child who told the truth. And I think and I hope I've become that person.
Yeah. So, I just want to follow up on that one question because, journalism, when you said, it's about telling the truth, there's a lot of people out there, especially now with the political, and I know it's not just the United States, there's other countries as well where the politics are, there's some people on this side, some people on this side, and some people blame the journalists for leaning one way or the other. So they might tell a story that's, that might be truthful in one person's eyes, but in another person's eyes, it's not truthful. So as a journalist yourself, how do you, what are your thoughts on that? Because I think telling the truth is important, but how do you answer people that might say journalists aren't truthful, because they might lean a certain way? So does that make sense? And what are your thoughts on that?
I think that journalist is for me was a passion and become a profession over the year in the past years. And I think that the most important thing for a journalist is always to have to watch where you found a news. It's most important thing to me, and I think that we live in a world where it's always so difficult to find the truth. It's a terrible thing to me.
And also, out of all the interviews that you, as a blogger and as a podcast host and radio host that you've interviewed, all the people, was there somebody, a very important person that you've interviewed that made you a little nervous, or that you were going into it a little more, I guess, having to prepare a little more for that person? Is there somebody in mind that you've interviewed that you feel a little more nervous, I guess, going into it?
I think that has always been a part of me being nervous for an interview because there's the emotion. I feel joy when I interview and get to know a new person, especially someone international, because they come from a different background. They can enrich me with their story. Especially in 2021, I was just 20 years old, and I interviewed with Kabir Bedi, a living legend and an actor in Sandokan and many more production. And maybe that was when I felt an ever stronger emotion, because he was my first international guest. That today, this morning, I received a comment under my interview on YouTube with Larry J. Campbell, the actor from According to
Oh
Jim.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
The comment was by Jim Belushi. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
And I still can't believe it. And a person would invite the great actor Jim Belushi to be my guest. This is a
Yeah.
nervous thing that I can tell to you, no?
Yeah, that's great. Oh wow, that's fantastic. And and one of the things that when you talk to somebody like that status, and you find out they're just a normal, regular person for the most part, right? I mean, that's what I've noticed interviewing celebrities and people that are in the public eye. I found I've done 300 episodes, and I haven't had one person that wasn't just very nice and very generous and very gracious. Everybody's been wonderful with me. Do you find that to be the case as well?
Yeah. I think that I always try to be respectful with people, and I think it's another important thing, uh, and I think that many times people that you have interviewed with is very kind because you are kind. Is a is an exchange is a great things that happen when you have a conversation, and I really appreciate to be here now, and I appreciate when my guests come into my show. It's great, no?
Yeah, like they're taking their time, and but you're setting the tone for the the interview, and so I think that you're right. I think it's amazing. Most people are very kind because you're setting the tone for it, and as an interviewer, one of the things that I was really impressed with is that you started a food show. Is food a passion for you? Because I know being in Italy, food is a culturally a very important part of the scene there and the culture in Italy. So talk about your food show and how did that come about? How did you start that?
So I started that show in 2023. I was in a TV show, an Italian TV show, Rai Due Viva il Video Box. I had written a funny monologue about the Generation Z. After that, everything revolved around that monologue, which even went viral in my country, and I felt I needed to do something to show that I could do more, because it's not nice to be trapped in one image, and I'm an interviewer, not an actor. This was just an experience. So since I always loved cuisine, I started a food cooking show in my city, Eboli, where I interviewed the local restaurateurs and tasted their dishes. My assistant and videomaker, Anna Chiara Monaco, was fantastic in this experience. A beautiful show come out of it, a cooking show that you can find on YouTube called Traveling in the Food. You say that in Italy, yeah, food is important. In Campania, my region, food is extremely important. And even more important is the Mediterranean diet of Pioppi. Pioppi is a locality in Campania located in the Cilento area. It is a nutritional model and lifestyle studied by the American nutritionist Ansel Keys, who lived in Pioppi for about 14 years, demonstrating the health benefits for the local population. So Pioppi is considered the world capital of the Mediterranean diet. So food is really important in
Oh
Italy.
wow, I didn't know that. That's really interesting. And also when I know bloggers will talk about the food at a certain restaurant or somebody who serves food, it's important to them as well because bloggers can influence somebody's decision on what to buy or when to eat and where to eat. And so blogging is very, very important. So have you found as a blogger that people that you run into want to make sure that they put their best foot forward, so to speak, with you? So when you blog about them, it's a positive experience. Do you find that to be true?
Yeah, it's a positive experience, and being a blogger or being an influencer is always an important responsibility.
Yeah.
You have always to tell the truth, as I say, as I say in the initial part of the interview, and I think it's really important to be responsible.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree with you. And, is there somebody out there that inspires you in, the field that you're in, blogging and being a radio host? Is there somebody that kind of inspires you that you look up to?
Oh, in Italy, I was greatly inspired by Maurizio Costanzo, the creator of the Italian talk show format and someone who interviewed the countless entertainment figures on the Maurizio Costanzo show. I have interviewed many of his guests and his friends, such as Iva Zanicchi, Natalie Guetta, who were often regular guests on his show. However, moving in a more journalistic direction in a term of actuality, I will mention Sigfrido Ranucci, also an Italian journalist and the host of Report, a program that often deals with difficult investigative topics that have stirred public opinion. It covers environmental issues, pollution, labor exploitation, and many others complex subjects. And I met Sigfrido in person, and I interviewed with him in last September. Recently, due to his uncomfortable investigation, he was even the target of an attack, which fortunately did not term his, and is still healthy and alive. These are the important journalists, those who fight for the truth,
Hmm.
just
Yeah.
as I said at the beginning of the interview. And one
Yeah.
day I would like to do this kind of work because the entertainment industry is amazing, is wonderful, is happy, is great, but I would like to move toward real journalism, and
Yeah.
it's really difficult.
Yeah, it's a hard field for sure, and it's getting more difficult, I think, as time goes on. But a very respectable field to be in. Like you said, to go after the truth. That's I respect people that can get the truth out of people, even if it's uncomfortable to do so. The other thing, you do so many different things, because I know you also do some live hosting for different big events in Italy, where you're on stage and you have a microphone and you're in front of a lot of different people. But do you have a preference for all the different things that you do? Do you have a certain preference? Is there something you like better than something else, where you kind of want to do more of it, or do you just enjoy every single thing that you do?
I personally prefer live events, such
Oh,
as my encounters with Don Maurizio Patriciello and Amedeo Colella, personality from Italy. There's something special about feeling the energy of the audience, seeing people's reaction, and creating a real collection at the moment. While recording show with just me and a guest is intimate and meaningful, nothing compares to the emotion and the authenticity of being face to face with people. Because live events make me feel alive. They remind me why I choose this work.
yeah, I agree, and just also just the preparation that goes into a live event as well. I don't think people realize how much work goes into a live event. So again, just a lot of respect for people who can do live events like that on stage, and keep the composure, because there's a lot of people watching you and they want to be entertained as well. So you have to make sure that you're entertaining them at the same time. Also, when you interview somebody, what's the main goal that you have in that conversation? What do you want your audience to take away from in that conversation that you're talking to celebrities, whatever the case is?
My main goal is to give a full importance to the guest. I wanted the conversation have been focused on them, not on me,
Right.
on the guest, on the career, on the work, and what they can teach or share with the audience. I'm not interested in private life of the guests or gossip.
Right.
I want I want to share the emotion beside career, and to understand who they are through their accomplishment, their ideas, their experience. This is the main thing to me.
Yeah, for sure. And I've watched a lot of your interviews, and I appreciate that, and you do a really good job with your interviewing style, and you're still fairly young, and you have a lot of career ahead of you, and you're on the right track. I mean, you're doing a great job out there, and I think for all of my listeners, you need to check Andrea out. So how can our listeners find you on YouTube or your social media? How can they look you up?
Oh, they can find me searching Andrea Della Rocca and the channel where I do interview, Tipu Circle on YouTube. You can find me on YouTube or on Instagram or on social, Facebook, Andrea Della Rocca, Tipu Circle.
So I know you said that you eventually want to do more journalist work down the road, but you're still doing some great interviews and blogging and so forth. So I mean, what's next for you? Is there something you're working on currently that our listeners can get excited about, that you're about to post, or that you're currently working on projects?
I'm working on new interview in a more international way, and I can say the guest because in Italy we say in Naples I'm scaramantico. I prefer to not say the guest.
Surprise.
It's a surprise, but I have more interview and project and also a theatrical project in the theater because I was in Rai for a monologue, and maybe I can restart an actor work.
Oh, good. That'd be fantastic. What kind of advice would you have for somebody who's just getting started in this? Because I know you've done quite a few things. What kind of advice would you have for that person that's in school, let's say, and they want to get into either journalist work or be a radio host or a podcaster or a blogger? What would you say to that person who's just getting started from what you've experienced?
My advice is to study every guest very carefully. I also learned the importance of selecting, not interviewing 300 artists, but 30,
Right.
giving much more attention to the question, to the content, and the precision of the language. Never overdo,
Right.
because you risk harming yourself and also becoming overexposed. And overexposition is not always a good thing.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And then also, I mean, what's the most important thing to you in your work as a whole? All the work that you do, what's the most important thing? What makes you sit behind the microphone? What gets you to blog? What gets you to spend all the time that it takes to do that? What's I guess the biggest thing that drives you as an artist total?
I will I always like to remember me as someone who tells stories with honesty, who gave space and dignity to every guest, and who worked with passion rather than ego. I don't like ego. I think it can be a part of the work, but not all the work. I prefer to be professional and to do my work. And I had a dream to become a reporter. And sometimes I do reporting in Italy, but I would really like to do it in a professional way. It's not so easy, so I have to work hard and to study hard and to work very hard. And for me, this evening it was difficult for the languages. So I want to say sorry to you and to the
You,
audience, but I hope
you
to
did
talk.
wonderful.
Ah,
Wonderful.
thank you,
Yeah.
thank you.
No, it's just wonderful, and it's just a pleasure, and just you're a breath of fresh air out there, and it's really nice to interview somebody so nice like you, and who's so passionate about the work that they do. So, my last question is a very important one, I ask everybody of this question that I interview, because for me, legacy is important. Like, who preserves the legacy of everybody that comes before us. And it's not even about artistry. It could be our family members. It could be a grandparent. It could be a parent, a teacher. It could be somebody important in our lives, but who's preserving the legacy of that? So my question is, what do you want your legacy to be? What do you want to leave behind when it's all said and done for Andrea Della Rocca?
I would like my legacy to be the value of truth and respect in communication. And I say then I hope people will remember me as an honesty guy, as a guy that want to do that work with passion. And if one day someone says Andrea made interview that mattered, then I will have given what I wanted. So this is my legacy.
Well, that's amazing. Well, Andrea, thank you for joining us tonight. It was really a pleasure to talk to you. Again, I know it's late there, so thank you for taking the time to do this, and hope to have you on the show again sometime in the future. And but in the meantime, we'll definitely keep watching your content, your wonderful content out there. So everybody, check out Andrea Della Rocca on YouTube and social media. I know I'm on your Instagram as well, so check them out on Instagram as well. And I hope you have a great rest of your night. Again, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you. It was a real pleasure to be here. Thank you.